Hello, I have a special announcement. My new book, which will be entitled Assyria, the Work of God's Hands, is going to be available very soon. Hopefully, it'll be up by tomorrow or the next day on Amazon, where you can order your copy. My new book, entitled Assyria, the Work of God's Hands, is basically an introduction to who the Assyrian people are, starting off with basically the Garden of Eden and going on until today. And this is a broad overview, and I think this book is good for a lot of different people, for Assyrians especially, because a lot of Assyrians don't know their history and their culture the way that they ought to. And this book is written at a general level, and it's got a lot of pictures in there and illustrations, pictures of and description of archaeological artifacts. And I appear in the stories of this book where I talk about my adventures in the Middle East and the war. I include myself in the story when I'm a participant in the events in a way to stress certain points, like when I discuss like the refugee crisis. It's like I went to Iraq when ISIS was slaughtering Assyrian Christians, and this is where I saw. So to make it more real, to make it more personable, real, and impactful, whenever I'm involved in any of the events, I put myself in the book where people could see me, or photographs I took of Assyrian villages in Syria and other places. The book's not about me, it's about the Assyrian people. I serve two goals with this book. One is to, like I said, to educate Assyrians about their own culture and history, but also people who are curious about the Assyrian people. And this is also, the book is not exclusively about Aramaic, but I have a lot of information about Aramaic as the language of Jesus, and its significance. And I talk about the Assyrian Church of the East and its achievements and accomplishments and its sufferings and persecutions. And like I said, I bring this up today where I have, I'm going to mention the persecutions during World War I, the Samili massacre, and then what happened with ISIS and the situation the Assyrian people find themselves in. It's also a call for the global Christian community to help and intervene to assist this beleaguered and persecuted community of the earliest Christian community and Christians who still speak the language that Jesus Christ spoke in one of the three languages of the Holy Bible. So if you order something on the 17th, you should get it in time for Christmas. And that's my goal, but I don't know if I'm going to realize that goal because I don't know. I just want the product to be as good as I can make it in that time, right? I want to have a quality product out there, and I feel good about this book. I'm working on my doctoral thesis, converting that into a book, and I was working. These two books, the doctoral thesis and this book, are kind of related, where the doctoral thesis is kind of more academic for the most part, and this is more for a general audience and not a scholarly audience. And I think there's a need for this book. Ron Susek's book is excellent, but I wanted to have something more succinct and accessible. Ron Susek's book, The Assyrian Revelations, is fantastic, highly recommended. but I want to make something more. I want to. I want this book to be more accessible to a wider audience. So, just things that. Plus, I wanted to be. This is not an exhaustive book about every single thing about the Assyrian people. I actually learned some new things while I was putting this book together, but they'll all be in the book. Once I get my copy, my hard copy, I think this book is so important that I'm going to do a series going through the book. And this is a way to help me buy the book, but I think it's also a way to help the Assyrian people, the Assyrian community, like I said, to learn about to reinforce their cultural identity as Assyrians, to inspire them as a community to greater things, but also to hopefully to raise awareness and concern and hopefully action about the plight that the Assyrian people find themselves in today. So I was I'm working on these two books simultaneously, and I decided okay, I'm almost done with the doctoral thesis book, which is going to be called The Apostle of the Migrants. And then we have this book, which is The Assyrians, the Work of God's Hands. It's like working these two books together, and it's like, okay, finish Assyria, the work of their hands. First, this is, like I said, this is more for a general audience. And the of course, as a doctoral thesis, is a little more technical. But things have happened since, so I want to update the doctoral thesis and bring it up to date. But once I have Assyria, the Work of God's Hands out there, I don't know. Someone's like, you told me 3 years ago you're going to publish your doctoral thesis. How can I have it out yet? And it's like, I can't rush it, I can't rush it. But I do want to have it done as soon as possible. I'm not going to have any pressure, But I'll probably have the doctoral thesis paper done by, the doctoral thesis book done by New Year's. I got a lot of concerns coming up next month about the estate. So after the holidays, I got to save the estate or salvage what I can. So I asked for prayer about that situation, because I was at the farm today and I was thinking about, this is my home. I helped build this. I've lived here, my father's estate, and now somebody from another state who's never been on the property before is going to take it away from me and my family, and just all my worldly possessions. I was going through my library, my books there, and it's like, I feel confident. I think things are going to be okay, but I could just lose everything. Everything my father and I worked for decades. This evil person, just out of greed, it's a brother-sister conspiracy where she stole the will, is in possession of it, because she doesn't want my father's will to be executed. She wants to take the estate, sell it, pocket the money, probably burn through it, and on a drunken, drug-fueled orgies, burn through everything. And that's what she'll probably do, is burn through everything that she gets out of it in 6 months. So that's what I'm facing. So pray about the situation. But I feel confident. We're going to pray about it. We're going to believe that there's going to be a good outcome in that. And these are evil, very evil people. It's not the place to go through it right now. But once I get my doctoral thesis book, I have to focus, when I get that book completed and published, I have to focus on family concerns and this crisis I'm facing. We have a court date. It's going to be on January the 27th, so pray about that. So within hours, hopefully, Assyria, the Work of God's Hand, will be out. And like I said, I think the book is accessible. It's written for a general, a wider audience. And I just, people don't read a lot should be able to. I want them to be able to read this book. People that aren't readers, and I want it to be complete. This is not like one of these big scholarly tomes, but I wanted to touch on all the main points of Assyrian history, from the emergence of Assyria as an empire, how Assyrian history interplays with the story of the Bible, the coming of Jesus, the importance of Aramaic, the apostles preaching the Assyrian people, the emergence of Aramaic Christianity and its history, but focusing on the Assyrian Church of the East, just the main points. So right now, I thought this book was going to be like 100 pages. Now it's over 300 pages, and it's going to be around 300 pages, 300 something, maybe 350, because so you format it. Like I said, it's got sometimes the print is a little bit larger. It's got a lot of pictures in it, so it's not like tiny print. It's written to be made accessible to a wider audience. And I don't have any extraneous information in there, just things that I think are essential facts that people need to know. So if you're an Assyrian patriot, or if you're concerned about the Assyrians and their future and carrying out the Assyrian legacy into the future, I think this is a very important book. And if you like my programming, what I'm trying to do with Voice of the Word, this is a way to support that. And I think that the people who get the book and read it, I think they're going to enjoy it, and they're going to encourage other people to purchase the book and read it. Because I'm really very hopeful and optimistic that this book is going to make a huge impact as well. And yeah, even though I included myself, because it makes it more, when you have like me, like seeing the Tower of Babel or the ruins of Babylon while I'm in Iraq, and I include that, or my visits to Assyrian communities, I think it just makes it more impactful to have it as a personable story. But it's not about me, right? It's about the Assyrian people. But, if something I did was relevant and makes the information more engaging, so I put pictures and information about me. But like I said, the book's not about me. It's about the Assyrian people and the Assyrian Christian heritage and the Aramaic Christian heritage. So, like I said, this will be a Christmas present for yourself and for me. And if you're an Assyrian patriot and you like the book, you can buy it and give copies out to a lot of people. Like I said, hopefully this will be a great aid and help for the Assyrian people and create awareness and also perhaps, I hope, to bring about action, right, to help the Assyrian people in the situation that they find themselves now. I was thinking, I'm going to say this in the book, it's like, you can't let ISIS win, right? They go in there and they commit genocide. And if we allow the Assyrian people just to be wiped out, that's a successful genocide. And we can't let their attempts to genocide, to wipe out the Assyrian people, succeed. Right? We have to counteract that. We have to undo the damage they did and have a restoration of the Assyrian people. And we have the promises of the Bible. And I think that people, I'll give you an example. There's a prophecy given to the Jewish people by Jeremiah. It's like you're sinful, wicked people, and now have you incurred the wrath of God, and God's going to destroy your temple, and he's going to exile you to Babylon for 70 years. But after 70 years, after you endure this chastisement of the Lord, you will return. So after the end of the 70 years, Cyrus issues an edict, the king of Persia, that the Jews can go home, right? But you had to have leaders to lead the people back home, right? People had to get up and move back. It's not like God sends a big, it's not like God transports people like in Star Trek where they beamed, from Babylon back to their homeland in, Canaan, right? They had to have leadership to gather the people and to accomplish, right? People, Ezra and Nehemiah, leaders had to lead the people, motivate the people, to inspire the people, to lead the people back. It's things they had to do to get back to their ancestral homeland, right? It wasn't, it is a miracle in a sense, but God gave the promise to the Jewish people that after 70 years in Babylon, they would return to their ancestral homeland. But you had to have people to take the step of faith. People had to take certain necessary actions on their own initiative to realize the promises of God. They were in Babylonia, and a lot of these people had never seen their ancestral homeland, right? And those who had seen it were elderly. That was a long and arduous task. Many of the Jews did not return to their ancestral homeland. Many of them stayed in Babylonia. But there are those people who walked in faith and obedience and belief in the promises of God, who worked to realize God's promises, where they had to pack everything up, move, and I talk about it in the book. They journeyed the path which the Magi would later take, which is a 4-month trek by foot or on camel or donkey or horse from Babylonia to Canaan. So God promised, I will bring you back to the promised land. And it happened. But people had to take the steps to bring God's promises. People did it, to bring God's promises into fulfillment. And so it is with the Assyrian people. God says he's going to make Assyria a nation again. And the Assyrians in the greater Christian community around the world are going to have to take steps to make this happen, to bring these promises into reality. It will happen. But whether these promises are fulfilled or not, and they will be, still the Aramaic Christian legacy, the legacy of the Assyrian people, is important, and the church world needs to know about it. Like I said, this book is for Assyrians, but it's also for the greater global Christian community as well. So it's a very important book, and I hope you can support this endeavor and purchase a copy. As I said, hopefully the next day or two it'll be available on Amazon for purchase. So thank you for your support, and God bless you.